Welcome to MA Crime Files. A desperate 999 call shattered the silence on the night of May 14th, 2018. A frantic man's voice pleaded for help, his panic echoing through the line.
It's emergency.
Oh, hiya. I think we've been burgled and my wife's been attacked.
Where about? What's the address?
We're on number 35, the Avenue in Middlesbrough, Linthorpe.
Right, is that where your wife is now?
Yeah, well, I've just come home. I was just out. I went to get something to eat and see the lads at work and get my laptop. And I've come home and the house is ransacked. And she's just on the floor. She's got duct tape all over her and she's like unconscious.
Right.
I'm trying to take off her.
Can she breathe?
Well, no, because she's...
Take the duct tape off her then.
Please, can you send someone quick?
Yeah, I am. Can I take your name, please?
My name's Mitesh.
Okay. She's been tied up by her hands.
Yeah.
And also tape around her legs.
Yeah.
And marks around her neck.
Yeah. She's got like blood on her nose and like stuff dripping out onto the floor.
And she's non-responsive.
No, Jess, come on, baby, wake up.
Mitesh. Listen to me, please.
Baby, wake up.
We've got an ambulance coming. They're travelling on blue lights as well. Okay.
When police and paramedics arrived at the Patel residence in Linthorpe, Middlesbrough, they found a horrifying scene. 34-year-old Jessica Patel, bound and lifeless, the home ransacked. At first glance, it looked like a violent home invasion gone wrong. But as investigators looked closer, unsettling details began to surface. Jessica Patel was the last person anyone would expect to meet such a tragic end. A well-loved and respected pharmacist, she seemed to have it all. A thriving career, a happy marriage, and a community that adored her. But behind closed doors, her life was far from perfect. And as detectives dug deeper, they uncovered a truth more chilling than anyone could have imagined. To understand how Jessica's life took such a devastating turn, we need to go back to the beginning of her story. Born in Leeds, England, Jessica grew up in a loving household, one of 6 siblings. From a young age, she was known for her kindness, intelligence, and determination. She worked hard, eventually becoming a pharmacist, a career that allowed her to do what she loved most: help people. It was during this time that she met Mitesh Patel. Their relationship quickly blossomed, and to those around them, they seemed like the perfect match: 2 ambitious, driven individuals with shared dreams and values. In 2009, they tied the knot, and their future seemed bright. Together, they moved to Linthorpe, Middlesbrough, where they bought a home and opened the Roman Road Pharmacy. They were well known, well respected, and from the outside, their life appeared picture perfect. But behind closed doors, the couple faced struggles that few knew about. Jessica longed to be a mother, but despite undergoing multiple rounds of IVF, she was unable to conceive. The emotional toll was heavy, yet she remained hopeful. They eventually made the difficult decision to freeze an embryo, believing that one day they would have the family Jessica had always dreamed of. Despite this heartbreak, to the outside world, Jessica and Mitesh seemed happy. That is, until the night everything changed. Mitesh told police that he had stepped out around 7 p.m. to get food and returned within half an hour, only to find Jessica's lifeless body. He insisted that a robbery had gone wrong, that intruders had taken her life. But the deeper police looked, the more unsettling the evidence became. CCTV footage from nearby stores confirmed Mitesh's alibi. He had, indeed, gone to a local pizza shop. But then came the first major red flag: a hard drive hidden inside the home, containing CCTV footage from their own house. Footage that Mitesh never mentioned. When detectives reviewed the recordings, they discovered something chilling. No one except Mitesh and Jessica had entered or exited the home that night. Even more suspicious, the recording had been switched off just minutes before Mitesh made the 999 call. Then there was the safe at the pharmacy, filled with gold jewelry, bars of gold, and over £25,000 in cash, completely untouched. Why would anyone put that much cash and gold in a place of business, but not in the bank? And finally, there was Mitesh himself. Investigators couldn't help but notice a fresh scratch on his neck. When questioned, he casually brushed it off, claiming he got it at the gym earlier that day. But was that really the truth? Something wasn't right. And as investigators dug deeper, they would soon uncover a shocking betrayal, one that had been years in the making. Perhaps the most damning piece of evidence against Mitesh Patel came from an unexpected source: his own phone. Investigators discovered that his iPhone's health app, typically used to track fitness, had recorded something far more sinister. The data revealed that in the moments after Jessica's murder, Mitesh's footsteps showed him pacing frantically, his heart rate spiking. Even more suspicious, it showed him moving upstairs. Why would he go upstairs when he had just discovered his wife's lifeless body in the living room? Jessica's phone, which had the same health app, told an even darker story. Her heart rate had suddenly stopped, marking the exact moment of her death. Moments later, her phone moved a short distance before being tossed outside, a clumsy attempt to make it look like a robbery where the thief had dropped it in a rush. But the data didn't lie. Jessica had never moved. The only person handling her phone after her death was Mitesh. Then, detectives made another unsettling discovery: a suitcase packed with Mitesh's clothes, hidden under the bed. Was he planning to flee? And if so, where was he going? Mitesh played the role of a grieving husband flawlessly, insisting to police that he had adored Jessica and had been nothing but a devoted partner. But as police dug deeper, a far more disturbing picture of Mitesh Patel began to emerge. Employees at the pharmacy and close family members shattered the illusion of a devoted husband. His carefully crafted image crumbled. The deeper investigators looked, the more twisted the case became. It turned out Mitesh had been living a double life, frequently using dating apps to meet not women, but men, sometimes even while at work. Over the years, he had engaged in multiple affairs, including one that spanned an astonishing 8 years with a doctor named Amit Patel. Jessica had found out. She had discovered the affairs and confronted Mitesh, but he swore he would change. He promised to leave his double life behind, to be faithful, to rebuild their marriage. Desperate to believe him, Jessica stayed, hoping for the husband she thought she had married. But Mitesh never stopped. Even on the day of her murder, he was still active on a dating app, proving that his promises were nothing more than lies. The case against him was growing stronger by the minute. When forensic reports came back, the true horror of Jessica's final moments became clear. Mitesh had injected her with insulin, leaving her weak and helpless. Bound with duct tape, she was then suffocated with a plastic bag. It was a calculated, cold-blooded murder. But how long had Mitesh been planning this? Detectives turned to his computer search history for answers, and what they found was chilling. For months, possibly even years, he had been researching how to hire a hitman, how to stage a robbery, and how much insulin it would take to cause an overdose. Around the same time as these searches, he had also taken out a life insurance policy on Jessica. For a staggering £2 million. It was all part of the plan. The money, the escape, the new life. After the murder, Mitesh intended to cash in on Jessica's death, collect the gold and cash from their pharmacy's safe, and flee to Australia, where he would reunite with his true love, Dr. Amit Patel. Police even found a chilling to-do list on his phone, outlining the things he planned to take with him. Jessica's murder hadn't been a crime of passion. It had been a meticulously planned execution, and now the net was closing in on Mitesh Patel. Just when investigators thought they had uncovered the full extent of Mitesh Patel's depravity, another horrifying truth came to light. One that exposed just how deeply he had manipulated Jessica. Mitesh had been secretly taking medication to suppress his sperm count, making it nearly impossible for Jessica to conceive. While she blamed herself for their failed IVF attempts, Mitesh already knew the outcome. Yet he forced her to continue with treatment, pressuring her to freeze an embryo, and even threatening to leave her if she refused. But what he planned to do next was even more twisted. He intended to take that frozen embryo and use it to start a family with his true love, Dr. Amit Patel. The weight of his emotional and psychological abuse had left Jessica spiraling into depression. She had been taking antidepressants, and in private moments she confided in her doctor about the relentless pressure Mitesh was putting on her. But the suffering didn't stop there. The abuse wasn't just emotional, it was physical. Co-workers had seen the signs. Bruises, a haunted expression. They had witnessed Mitesh shouting at Jessica, throwing objects in fits of rage. And in a chilling confession, she once admitted to a family member that he had wrapped his hands around her neck in anger. Yet, despite the clear warnings, no one intervened. Jessica remained trapped, growing more isolated, more broken, and ultimately more vulnerable to the fate that awaited her. But the final piece of evidence was undeniable. Forensic analysis confirmed that Mitesh's DNA was found on the plastic bag used to suffocate Jessica and on the duct tape that bound her. And the roll of duct tape had been hidden in the pharmacy, another failed attempt to cover his tracks. And that scratch on his neck, it held Jessica's DNA, proving that in her final moments she had fought for her life. With overwhelming evidence stacked against him, Mitesh was arrested, was found guilty, and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Some called it a murder driven by greed, a twisted attempt to escape his marriage without losing face. But at its core, this was a story of a woman who had suffered in silence for years, trapped in a marriage that stripped away her happiness, her dreams, and ultimately her life. And perhaps the most tragic part? The signs were always there. Jessica had cried out in different ways, but those around her had either failed to see or failed to act. Jessica's story is a heartbreaking reminder that abuse can hide behind closed doors, and sometimes even those closest to the victim fail to act. If you or someone you know is in a similar situation, please don't stay silent. Help can make all the difference. What are your thoughts on this case? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this story eye-opening, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more real-life crime cases that uncover the shocking truth. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.